Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jacob Rothenberg here, and this week on the channel, we have, for a second time, our very special guest and my good friend, Bechor. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. We are living in a time of abundant opportunity. So I'm doing amazing, and I want to thank you for having me on your channel. It's free exposure for me, and it's a way for me to give back value to the community.
Yeah, awesome. There was a lot of feedback from your first video, a lot of interest and curiosity about how you make money outside of Amazon as a publisher and how you're able to essentially, as you've said to me before this interview, double dip, meaning you not only publish content for Amazon, but then you take that content and distribute it on other platforms to multiply your earnings. And one thing I'll say out the gate, which you mentioned, you actually make more money from other third-party platforms than you actually make from Amazon directly. So I think a lot of people will be interested in what you have to say to multiply earnings from books.
Yes, absolutely. And I want everyone watching this video, it's the same thing like I said in the Facebook post. I have broke 10K in revenue. That's $10,000 in revenue since I started roughly a year ago. Now, I want to mention that that's not profit because I do pay out affiliates. So the actual profit is maybe around the 7K or 6K mark.
So really good.
So the overall theme that I want someone who's a complete beginner looking at this for the first time, the theme is as follows, and this is the foundational concept that everything is based on. We have influencers that have a huge following on YouTube. They have 100,000 views per video or 30,000 views per video. On Twitter, they have 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. And these influencers have a business IQ of 0. So they're talented. They're good at writing. They're talented writers. They have amazing content they produce. And at the same time, they just don't really know how to sell and make money with their influencer account. So what I come in and I say, you have amazing content, you're not making money, let me help you monetize your account. I'll set up everything for you. I'll create the product for you if you want. I'll create the website for you. I'll create an audiobook version of your content. I'll do everything. You just need to say yes, I'll take care of everything. I'll even create a product, a custom-made product, completely written by me for you. Or I could, like we said in the earlier video, I can scrape their content, put it together in a really nice, attractive format, and create the product. And that product has a high conversion rate, very high quality, not a half-baked, half-effort product. So I'll create the product for them. I'll do everything for that influencer. He doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to say, yes, I'm interested. Yes, if you make that product, I'll tell my followers about it and we'll split the profits. That's the only thing that I want from him.
Yeah, and I think for anyone that's new to internet marketing, one of the fastest ways to get started making money online is leveraging. So if you don't have content, you can leverage other people who might have content. If you don't have money, you can borrow other people's money, or in this case, borrow other people's content to get started rather than outsourcing work through like ghostwriters and such. So that's very cool. And it's a win-win situation because it's a profit share of something that would not exist prior.
I absolutely agree with that. I really like to have mutually beneficial win-win business partnerships. Everyone makes money together.
Okay, Boris. Well, I think everyone, so you've got your notes. You've got the notes for today.
I'm gonna go through, I've got a lot of stuff here, a lot of really useful stuff. So I'm really pumping out value. And yeah, I'm gonna get started right away.
Yes. So do you want to talk about Gumroad first or Twitter? What's your plan for starting this out?
Oh, okay, so let me just introduce what Gumroad is. So
yes, what is
people
Gumroad?
Reached out to me like, hey man, what's Gumroad? Never heard about it.
Yeah.
So get this. Amazon is actually not always the best place to sell your books in. It's popular, sure, everyone's doing it, but it's not always the best place to sell your books. Now, here's why. Because first of all, Amazon takes a 30% cut for digital books. That's a big cut. And if it's paperback, they take a lot more. I don't remember exactly how much they take.
30%.
And for Audible takes a crazy percentage. They'll take away 60. They're robbing you in broad daylight. They take away 60%. That's insane. Now get this. What if I said there was a platform that only takes approximately 5%, and they pay out weekly?
I'm interested.
So that's why I was interested as well when I heard this. And it gets better than that. Let me tell you the number one thing about the platform. First of all, your stuff gets approved instantly, not 24 hours, not like with Audible, it could take weeks for it to be approved. On Gumroad, boom, you set it up in 3 seconds, it's already gone. There's no review process. So you could sell anything, anytime, instantly done.
Okay, so that's very, very interesting and exciting to hear. So what are people buying on Gumroad? Like, why would someone go on Gumroad.com and make a purchase? What are they buying?
So people do not actually go on Gumroad and type in products and look to buy stuff. That's one of the key things to understand. Gumroad does not have its own organic traffic.
Okay.
So if someone wants to sell stuff on Gumroad, they have to bring in their own traffic from social media or from websites or from anywhere. I recommend social media because it's very, very cheap. If I put out a link right now, it can get anywhere from 50 to 100 clicks. So I do recommend social media as a great way to get traffic towards Gumroad. So the other benefit to Gumroad is that this is probably the number one benefit to Gumroad. If I had to say, like, why should a person use Gumroad? This is why. I'm going to say why. Because the problem with Amazon is that if someone wants to be an affiliate for your book, they get 4%. If your book is an ebook, that's 4% of $10. And even that, I'm not sure exactly, because Amazon takes a cut of that too. So bottom line, it's a very small amount of money.
Yeah, it's like 1 or 2% of the gross.
So because it's so little, people aren't jumping to be an affiliate for your book. Because they're like, if I have skills, I want to make more money. So Gumroad comes in and says, look, you can have 50%, you can give your affiliates as much as you want. Now we're talking, and you can charge your book as high as you want. I've seen a book for $100. I've seen books for $20. So you can charge as much as you want, and you can give away as much percentages as you want. So here's the big thing. This is one of the biggest epiphanies that I've had. The reason why people make these incredible figures, there's a guy called Chris Johnson who posted that he made $94,000 revenue in 1 week on Twitter with Gumroad. So the reason why they're making so much money is because they're leveraging affiliates. They're reaching out and they're creating a small sales team for their books, which are high quality. And we're going to talk more about how they do that. But the point is, they have an army of people selling the book for them, and they're giving out 50% cuts. So it's a lot easier to sell your book when you have 50 other people working for you to sell it.
Okay, so let me recap real quick. So influencers can use Gumroad as a platform to sell their content and easily set up affiliates to promote their products and get, obviously, a cut of the revenue. Now, my question would be, do I have to be an influencer to like do well with Gumroad? Or I know you're the Twitter monster, but I mean, for someone starting out, how could I leverage Gumroad and make money from it as someone with initially 0 social media following? Or do I have to be friends with an influencer to make money off of it?
So you almost answered your own question at the end. You do have to create a relationship with an influencer. That is the biggest thing. So someone who's just starting out, it is not going to be as easy as someone who already has a following of 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers, because the influencer is looking at that guy and he says, do I want to work with someone who clearly doesn't understand social media because he has 100 followers? I don't think he's going to be able to help me on Twitter because he clearly doesn't know how to use Twitter because he has less than 100 followers. So I will say that it's not as easy when you have a big account. So one of the ways to grow on Twitter, since we're on the subject already, is you want to create a list of top tweets from mega influencers. So basically the slogan is, if you can't create, curate. So here's what I mean. Let's say there's mega influencer X and I'm starting out and I have 0 followers. How can I get followers fast? So if I create my own content, then the problem is, it's what I like to call the 0 followers death spiral. I can create the best content in the world. I can create a lot of content, but no one is going to watch it, so it can't go viral. For something to go viral, there needs to be at least an initial boost. So I don't want to create my own content because I don't have anyone watching it. So what I want to do, if I want to grow fast on Twitter, is I want to take mega influencer X.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last few seconds you might have cut off?
Yeah, sure. So I'm saying if someone wants to grow on Twitter, they have to find mega influencer X and create a thread on Twitter. A thread is like a list of tweets saying these are the top 5 tweets from mega influencer X. And then mega influencer X is going to look at that and he's going to retweet it. He's going to share it with his followers. And
right. So I'm sorry, thinking about it, if someone is brand new, do they have to approach someone on the level of like Kylie Jenner as a mega influencer? Or could someone approach a figure like me, who might have close to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube? Not a whole lot, but it's not like 0 either. Would that be worthwhile? Can someone approach someone like me, or do they like need a mega influencer to like make this viable?
So on Twitter, I would recommend people approach Twitter influencers that have at least 10,000 followers.
Okay.
Because their retweet actually means something. And it's not just the follower count that matters. It's important to look at the engagement, how many likes they have, how many retweets they have. Are people responding? Because there are Twitter influencers that have a big follower count, but when you go through the timeline, you see that their tweets are of low quality and people aren't responding. So they probably just bought their followers. So you want to look at the quality of tweets and the engagement rate. So I would look for someone who has at least 10,000, because then their retweet is the Twitter equivalent of sharing. So if they have 10,000 followers, their retweet actually means something. And the other thing I would do is I would mention them in the thread. So that way they'll actually see it. It'll come up in their notifications. And the other thing is that I would put pictures instead of words. So what I mean by that is, it is possible to create a thread of just tweets, just like these are the top 3 quotes or top 4 quotes from this mega influencer. But it's not as good as creating it in a really nice picture format with Canva, because that's going to stand out more in their notifications. Because when they're looking at their notifications, they might just glance at it for 3 seconds. They might not even read their own notifications. Because personally, sometimes I don't read my own notifications, even if it's like comments or replies. So if someone creates a picture format of the top tweets from a mega influencer, they're going to actually look at that. They can't help because it's big. they're going to see it in their notifications. So that's what I would recommend for someone who wants to grow their follower account on Twitter.
Okay, and then maybe I'm cutting ahead of what you'll be talking about, but what are you actually creating in the way of content that's selling on Gumroad? Yeah, is it ebooks? Is it like a list of quotes? What content are you actually monetizing for these influencers?
So I have a lot of different products, and I'm just going to go through from my experience what works, what sells. So first of all, it has to be within the 3 niches. I did have 1 or 2 or even 3 people reach out to me and say, I want to use Twitter to sell low content activity books. And I said, absolutely not. That is like going to a movie theater and trying to sell fishing rods in the movie theater. That's not going to work because if you go into movie theater, you have to sell popcorn niche, or you got to sell the soda niche, or the junk food. So you got Twitter is a community that's centered around 3 niches: popcorn, soda, and movie tickets. So relationships, business, fitness. These are
How about politics?
See, I know politics does go viral on Twitter, but I don't know how easy it is to monetize it.
Okay.
But that is a really solid point. So what I sell, I've tried different things. So one of my best-selling books is a number of tactics to accomplish X. So let's say, I don't want to give out the exact title or too many hints because I don't want my niche to be discovered, but it could be something like 68 tactics to do X, Y, Z and achieve benefit 1. So that would be the ad copy. That does well. I include the audiobook in that as well. So I'm double dipping again with, I've got an Audible and I'm using the same audios and I'm putting on Gumroad.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I sell is bundles are really good. And what I do is I reach out to influencers and I see that they're selling an ebook version. I say, I want to create an audiobook version of your book. And all I want is a small percentage of the profits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of stuff that sells. I'm obviously not giving out my niche, but I would recommend people to look into Chris Johnson, who, I think a person can get a lot of ideas from him. They use very aggressive tactics. Some influencers use aggressive tactics, like they'll say, my book is on sale for 60 minutes. And they'll use 30% off for the next 15 people. And they use a special software on Twitter. And I'm not saying I would recommend using the software because I think it's easier to just build the software because of how cheap it is. Twitter API is not difficult in my opinion. It is not expensive. It's just a lot cheaper to build the software than to actually use someone else's software. But anyways, they use a software where it works with Gumroad and it'll say 30% off for the next 15 people, for the next 60 minutes or whatever it is. They create massive urgency, massive scarcity, and they get sales like crazy. And the other thing that you'll notice that Chris Johnson does, and actually a lot of influencers do this because, it sounds sleazy and I almost feel bad saying it, but unfortunately it works because people respond to this kind of stuff. What they do is they post screenshots of how much money they made with Gumroad, and then they'll sell a book on how they made the money on Gumroad.
That's fair game. That's fair, yeah. I sell a course on how to make money with Amazon, dude. I totally get that.
So Chris Johnson does the same thing he does different business models like flipping and something with stocks. I haven't really studied his account in depth. I just looked at it casually. But he does a lot of this is how much money I made with flipping, post screenshot on Twitter. And then he has this own WhatsApp group, I think, where he charges a certain like $60 a month for flipping, and he has affiliates for that as well. So the thing with affiliates is that it's important to have affiliates promoting your book or course, or in Chris Johnson's case, his WhatsApp group subscription, because when you have affiliates, you have more than just one thing, right? You obviously have more money because more people are promoting your product, but you have something else that's really important, that is social proof. So someone scrolling through the timeline, they'll see 10 other people promoting your book. They're like, oh, the book must be good. But they don't realize that all of these 10 people, I know a guy who has around 100 to 200 affiliates.
Wow.
They don't realize that all of these people that are saying, this book is amazing, go buy it, here's the link. The average consumer doesn't realize, maybe, unless people are getting smarter now, that these are all affiliates. These are not honest reviews. Because anyone who's an affiliate, they're essentially bribed into giving a positive review. I don't think there's anyone, I mean, I'll be happy to prove wrong, but I don't think there's anyone who's like attacking some of the products that are out there. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I actually bought a product for $50. And I read that book, and it was absolute garbage. Like, a 10-year-old could write a better book than that. Just very generic motivational stuff. And there's literally nothing that he said in that book that I wouldn't have been able to figure out just by studying his timeline.
Okay, so I am thinking ahead again for those watching. Now we understand a little bit of the marketing piece and how to approach an influencer and make a profit share deal and what type of general content you'd make. But then as far as the content creation part, how are you creating the content? Like, let's say we were taking Jacob Rothenberg and making a book about making money online with Kindle publishing. How are you going to use my content to create that book? Are you scraping my quotes on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram? Like, how would you create the content to be a coherent book?
So with Twitter, what I have done was I actually created a software, because I work for a software developer, that will extract tweets from a Twitter timeline. And I put all those tweets together, and I filtered it by subject. So I'll type in search for this keyword. So let's say I have 50,000 tweets. So the software will automatically find every tweet that has this keyword in it. And then I'll put it together into one book on that keyword, on that subject. So let's say, let me give an example. Okay. Let's say someone has 50,000 tweets, and I'll use the software, and actually Twitter also provides their own archive. So you might not even need my software for that, because Twitter actually gives people that use it an archive of all their tweets since day one. So what I do is I search for the word Apple. Every tweet that has the word Apple, it will show up, and I'll just copy and paste it into a Microsoft Word document or Vellum for people that like fancy formatting. Upload it on Kindle, and basically I'll get it narrated, et cetera, because the average influencer on Twitter doesn't know how Amazon works. They have no idea how Amazon works. So if I can create a low content book for them or help them create a paperback or digital, that's a lot of value of me giving them value. So the other thing that I do is I'll narrate it for them. So one way to answer the question, one way to create the product is to scrape it. There are, of course, other ways. The other way is I will personally write the book myself. And
I think that's a better way to make the book actually coherent.
I've done a hybrid. One of my best-selling books is actually a hybrid of both methods. So I scraped and I went through and I added some of my own writing for it to make sense.
Yeah, that's a good approach, the hybrid approach, to also save time on ideas of what to actually write about. Okay, because I think the main concern for anyone listening now is like, okay, I can understand how we can repurpose existing content, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the books are quality, that they actually read well, and that they're worth the money that people are paying for. So, I mean, in your honest opinion, are these books worth paying for? Like, is
Yes.
it good content? Okay.
Yes, it's amazing content. Let me explain why. I want to address that. These Twitter influencers, there's a reason why they're influencers. And that's because their content is freaking amazing. It is life-changing content. It's very, very powerful. I personally read the content for myself. I screenshot it for myself so I can go through. That's how good it is. I'll read it. I'll look through. I'll screenshot it. I'll say it out loud. I'll verbalize it because I want to internalize the mindsets. It's that good. The problem with Twitter is that the old content disappears. So if they've been a Twitter guy for 4 years, it's not like YouTube where someone can just scroll down and find the video. On Twitter, that content is gone. Twitter only lets you scroll down up to 2,000 tweets. So personally, my account has over 45,000 tweets, which means most of my content is actually invisible. So the product itself is definitely a very high quality product because the tweets are very high quality. A 240 character, whatever the character limit is, because Twitter will only let you tweet a certain small amount per time. So people that are not familiar with Twitter, let me just explain how it works. With Facebook, you can post as many words as you want. With Twitter, you can only post a very small excerpt of whatever it is you want to say. And because of that, influencers are forced to condense their ideas into the bare bones. Like the calcium pill, instead of drinking a gallon of milk or whatever, they'll condense it into 3 pills of calcium, to use a metaphor.
Yes.
So I definitely went on a very long rant with that. But I assure you, the quality is high because I'm not going to risk anyone's reputation. Any influencer that works with me, my reputation is on the line. So it's really up to me to deliver something that's outstanding quality because otherwise I jeopardize my own long-term success for a quick buck, which is something I don't want to do. So it's definitely very high quality. I'll personally read through it, make sure the grammar is good. Very high conversion rate. That's the other thing I do is I A/B split test conversion rates. So Twitter will show you how many people click on your link versus how many impressions it's getting. So one of the beautiful things about Twitter is that it lets you test an idea very quickly. So let me explain. Let's say I have a book concept. I'm like, I want to write a book about ABC. ABC being, fill in the blank. But I'm not sure if people are going to be receptive to it. So let me tweet a few stuff about it. I'll make 5 tweets and let me look at the engagement. Let me look at how many likes it's getting, how many retweets it's getting. So if it's getting less than normal, then I'm like, okay, people don't care about this. I need a next thing. But if it's going viral, then I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently people like this idea. So if I make a book out of it, then it'll work. So yeah, that's my very long rant. So going back to your question about how the content is created. So one of them is scraping with a hybrid of writing, which includes a lot of organization because everything needs to be in its right place. The other thing is curation of public domain content, which does require, all of this scraping stuff requires very good tools because with the scraping software, you also need to manually remove a lot of, you don't want to manually remove it. You want the software to automatically remove replies, for example, or tweets that have links. So a curation of public domain content and personally writing it myself. There is one other gray hat method that I don't want to mention, but there is one more method of getting the books written. And of course, there's the traditional, hire, outsource a talent guy. I'm also looking into something completely new, actually. I haven't really tested this yet, so I can't personally vouch for it, but I have another method I'm looking into. And that is, it's kind of more accessible to me than the average guy starting out, because I have a massive amount of Twitter followers. I have over 40,000 followers on one account, which is my primary account. My other account has over 30,000 followers. My third account has over 10,000 followers. And my newest account actually only has a couple hundred, because I just started it and I'm like, actually, I don't want to do it anymore. So I just let it die. But anyways, because I have it's more relevant to me. So what I do is I'll approach a guy who seems like he's a talented writer, and I'll essentially build him up by giving him advice, giving him traffic, helping him out. And I'll tell him, look, I want you to create a custom-made book for me. I want you to write the book. I'll help you market it, and we'll split the profits. So he creates the book, and I'll be essentially his agent, his influencer talent agent. And I'll either pitch it to influencers, or I'll talk to influencers first, and I'll make sure that we create a custom-made product for their Twitter timeline. So that is the full, thorough answer to your question as to how these books are created.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. What is the gray hat method that you're using to create books? Hey, if it's like, let's just say I'm not going to publish on Amazon, and I'm just going to do this on Gumroad. What is the gray hat method?
Well, I can't actually say the gray hat method, because once the method becomes saturated, it becomes useless. So it's like the golden chicken. I can't give out the golden chicken that lays the golden eggs.
Fair enough. I think you told me the last interview we had off camera, but all right. So cool. Good to know.
I will say that there's a lot of money to be made with these methods. So I don't want to downplay. These methods are real. They work. I have personally done these methods, and I have made money with them. So even without the gray hat method, a person can make a lot of money with these methods, because, like I said, I keep saying it over and over. I know these methods work. They make money.
Yeah, I can already deduce what the gray hat method is, because I see the biggest obstacle already for anyone starting. Because I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to take action on this? And the number one obstacle, I think, is to initially grow your own Twitter following. So there has to be something that can help accelerate that growth. And I'll probably leave it at there. But okay, so actionable steps for someone doing this. Create a Gumroad account, obviously. Then number 2, get on Twitter and start putting out my own content, get my own followers. And then at some point, approach a influencer and pitch content creation in exchange for a royalty split, and start making something attractive like banners and quotables of that influencer, and make, like, through canva.com images with their quotes, and start retweeting them. And is that the right approach to get started with this, to get attention?
So I didn't even start going through my notes, because I have a lot of stuff here, and these notes will really have actionable intel, I hope.
All right, well, let's do it.
I have a personal example where I created a Twitter account for a mega influencer, and I didn't even ask for their permission. I just did it. And if they're like, oh, if they don't want it, I'll take it down.
Okay.
So that's a little bit, I have a high risk tolerance, so that's probably why I did it. Someone else would have probably been like, oh, I should reach out to them first. But I just went out ahead and did it, because they already expressed some interest in me and working with me, so I just went out and did it. I created a Twitter account for them, and they started automatically retweeting all of my tweets for the Twitter account that I created for them. And that Twitter account will post tweets automatically. It's completely automated. So that's one way that I created a Twitter account, and how I got followers was that I'm leveraging someone else's personal brand by creating an influencer account, well, at least an aspiring influencer account that curates their content in a very automated way, that it's hands-off, it's set it and forget it. I created that for them, and they're bringing traffic to it. So that's one way to grow an account fast. I will say that I am limited with that account. I personally can't use that account to post whatever I want anytime I want because it's really an account for them. But what I can do is I will occasionally log into that account and promote myself with it. So that's one very clever and highly innovative way to grow an account really fast. To answer the question, I do want to give a really good answer to that question, and that is really a fast way to grow on Twitter or maybe even other social media platforms because they generally work the same. Like YouTube might be a different medium, but it's still social media. So one way to grow on social media is to find a big influencer and create a social media account that's essentially like almost their fan page. And what that influencer account does is that it curates their best stuff. So let's say they post a lot of stuff on their website or whatever. What my influencer account will do is that it will just post the best parts of whatever it is they have on their website or whatever it is they have on whatever it is that they do. If they're a YouTuber or Instagram user or Twitter guy, I'll just make a Twitter account that's designed to curate their best content. They'll share that with their followers. That account is going to grow fast, maybe even make money in the process because if it has affiliate links in it. And then occasionally I can retweet myself from that account. And I mention occasionally because really it's supposed to be their personal brand. So I only do it maybe once every 5 days or something like that. So I am geared towards, when I'm working with influencers, I'm geared towards giving more value than I take. So I definitely want to, just overload them with value. Here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, all this freebies. And, I just want this one small thing. That one small thing is that difference that makes a difference. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of, because I mentioned some of this in here. But one of the things that I really want from an influencer, and this is super key, and it is the biggest thing that will impact someone's success on social media. And here it is. The thing that I want the most from a mega influencer, whether they have 30,000, 50,000, or 100,000, is that I want to have weekly strategy meetings with that influencer, either on Zoom or WhatsApp. That is my ask. So I give a lot of value, then I give them my ask. That's the ask. I want to have weekly meetings. So what happens during these weekly meetings is we talk about how my services are helping him. And we just talk about Twitter in general, because I actually know a lot of information. The stuff that I say generally tends to be insightful and helpful because I have a lot of years in the game. I've been doing Twitter for around 6 to 7 years. So I know a lot, so I tend to give insights that are valuable to them. So we're just chatting, I'm chatting with the influencer, we're just talking, and then I'll give them a 30-second elevator pitch of a way that we can work together in some kind of collaboration. And I have a lot of ideas. It can be, maybe I'll create a custom-made product for them. Maybe I'll create a custom-made website for them, whatever it is. But I'll give them a 30-second elevator pitch. Here's this idea, here's what I could do this for you. And all I want is for you to share your traffic and give me a cut of the profits. If they like my elevator pitch, awesome, we're good. I have a full-time VA right now, so I could outsource a lot of this to him. If they don't like the elevator pitch, that's completely cool, because the way that I frame it is, I'm just here to give elevator pitches and give you value. So, and your job is to say, this elevator pitch is good for me, or this elevator pitch is bad for me. So let me just give you a practical example. One of the guys that I'm working with right now, he said no to 1 or 2 of my first elevator pitches. He's like, nope, don't like that. Nope, don't like that. Nope, don't like that. But eventually he's like, you know what? Here's an idea. Why don't you do that? And boom, now I have a partnership. Because he knows that I have a track record of execution. He knows that if he tells me an idea, it's not just going to fall into deaf ears. Because most people, they'll promise the world and then they won't do anything. So he knows that I have a track record of prior successes and I have a track record of fast execution. He knows that if he's like, let's make money this way. I'll give you a percentage of the profits. I'll give you some of the traffic or whatever it is that we agree to. He knows that I'm going to execute. Now, I did learn the hard way because I've been doing this for a long time. So I know what it's like to work with someone who says they'll do something and then they don't do it. That is not a person that I personally want to work with, and that's not a person that anyone wants to work with. So when I'm working with these influencers, I really try my best to keep my word. So that's my ask. I try to get weekly meetings. We just talk about Twitter, exchange valuable ideas, bounce ideas off each other. Then occasionally I'll pitch them an idea. If they like it, great. If not, it's still cool. We're still keeping the weekly meetings, same time, same place. And those weekly meetings have created very lucrative, mutually beneficial strategies where we both work together to make money. So I'm not sure exactly what question or how I got into this subject, but I am ready to go down my very long list of stuff that I wrote.
Yeah, I did have some questions, but I think I will reserve them until after you're done talking about, well, the ins and outs of this business opportunity. Because, dude, you have so much information, it should just be an online course that you sell. Like, at some point, you're just gonna have to make a course, dude. I'm just saying.
Well, thanks. I do have, with the course, I'm thinking about it. I will be able to share actual screenshots so people will have a more visual aspect to it. Because right now it's just words and they're like, I don't really know what he means. So I do want to share, because I was talking about how I reach out to affiliates. So I do want to share word by word what I did. I'm just going to be reading straight from this phone some messages that I sent out.
Go for it. Yeah, this is something that I'd be interested in myself personally. So I do have my own genuine questions, but I will hold off until we have your content out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about this stuff, and I really want to give value to everyone in the channel and to you especially, because I got so much value from your stuff. Like, you inspired me to do audiobooks.
Well, thank you.
If it wasn't for you, I would not be doing audiobooks right now.
Thanks. That's funny to hear, actually. Because I don't really have an audiobook course, but yeah.
Well, basically, you had this convention, and in the convention, you said, you know, guys, you can make a lot of money with audiobooks using this specific strategy with promo codes.
Did you buy the recordings on that?
I did not, but I know someone who attended it, and he told me one thing that was said. That was one thing that he said.
Fair enough.
As like, when I heard about the promo codes, I was like, I have to go all in. So that's when I started doing audiobooks like crazy, and that's like my whole history with audiobooks.
Yeah, fair enough. Awesome. All right, let's do it.
So I'm gonna read from my phone these. 1 second. All right. Hopefully, no one saw from my phone what that is.
No, I didn't see it.
Make a mental note. Okay, so I'm just gonna read it straight up. This is a DM that I sent to someone I'm working with. I said, I sent you a complimentary copy of book ABC, and you should have gotten a 50% commission affiliate rate from Gumroad. So all you have to do is make a thread of your top 3 favorite quotes from book ABC with your affiliate link at the end of the thread. I'll retweet it. We'll both make money, and Twitter influencer XYZ gets new followers. If you lost your affiliate link, I'll resend it. Cha-ching, money emoji.
Okay, cool.
So that's one like real life example that I sent out.
Now, since this is something you're teaching, I assume that not only are you going to give the information, but do you have any case studies of anyone else doing this? Maybe a colleague in the publishing industry that's also doing this, making money?
So I don't know anyone in the publishing community, but I do know, I can give you specific Twitter usernames that are not in my niche, so I'm more comfortable with people looking at them.
Yeah.
And like this, one of them is Chris Johnson. I can definitely find more because there's a lot of, I'm okay with giving out names for the money influencer niche.
Yeah, I'm
So
not talking about
I'm
that
the,
necessarily, but like,
um,
I know in my group, Joshua Wellman responded saying he was also doing Gumroad and making money. Because instead of having someone like me from scratch do this and then give you a case study 6 months from now, are there case studies of anyone else right now in publishing at all doing this other than yourself to prove that this works?
I don't personally know anyone. I will say that it's obviously a lot easier for me because I have a big influencer account and people that are starting out, it's going to be harder for them.
Mhm.
I know this works for me and I have the Chase bank account statements that I could show to Jacob and privately.
I've seen
I
them.
could log
It's
in.
legit. It's legit.
I'm completely okay with logging in to my account right in front of Jacob or other people that I trust. So unfortunately, I don't actually know someone in the publishing space who does this. But I have friends that I get on the phone with who are also influencers that I could give to you, specifically to Jacob, for you could talk to them. But I don't want the average YouTube person to reach out to them because then my niche would be revealed because they're in the same niche as I am.
Right. Okay. And because we also don't want to ruin your niche, could the Gumroad platform get saturated, or is that not possible because people have to bring their own traffic to X niche?
People do have to bring in their own search traffic from social media. If I look at my dashboard, the percentage of organic sales from the organic search bar is very, very low. I could check right now, but the last time I checked, it was like around 1%. Now, in terms of it's going to get saturated, I know one niche right now that's untapped, and I don't think so.
Okay.
Because this is relatively new. There's a lot of courses on Amazon Publishing.
Yes, too many courses.
With Gumroad and social media, I looked on YouTube for Gumroad. There is some stuff, but there is not a lot of stuff. It's relatively new. So in terms of saturation, it's not at that point yet, at least in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to read this thing because I think it's very insightful. This is the first message that I sent to him. So I had no prior relationship with this guy. And I just want to show you what I said to him and how I found him to be an affiliate. So I said this. I'm reading it straight up. Hey, I stumbled upon your article that contains the best quotes from the book blank. And I linked the article. Would you like a free copy of the book blank audiobook on Gumroad? This way you can decide if you want to be an affiliate for 50% of the profits. That is the first message that I ever sent him. The next thing he replies, he says, that's a good idea. Sure, I'd like that. And what I do is I say cool, emoji with the sunglasses. What's your email associated with your Gumroad account? I'll send it right over now. And he sends his email, thanks man. And then I reply, I say, I sent you a complimentary copy of the book blank audiobook. And you should have gotten a 50% commission affiliate link from Gumroad. So all you have to do is make a thread of your top 3 favorite quotes from the book blank audiobook with your affiliate link at the end of the thread, I'll retweet it, meaning I'll share it with my followers, and we'll both make money. So we're sharing he's sharing it with his followers, and I'm sharing it with my followers. And this is why there's no limit to how much money a person can make, because there's a lot of influencer accounts, and they all share followings together. We have a lot together. So that's a real life example that I literally did this within the last 48 hours. So that kind of adds more of a practicality aspect to everything. So
I have a newbie question. Why are you, well, I know why you're focused on the scope of Twitter because it's your forte. Let's say if my forte was Facebook, my current audience is Facebook, and I know some really popular influencers specifically on Facebook. Could I remodel your approach to still perform well using Gumroad by connecting with someone on Facebook?
I personally haven't tried that.
But in theory, could it work?
In theory, 100%.
Okay. Got it. Cool.
If it works on Twitter, I personally don't see why it wouldn't work on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or even maybe Pinterest. I don't know about, I don't know anything about Pinterest, but it's probably transferable skills. Because see, when I got into this, I was like, I hate networking. I don't want to talk to anyone. Just let me do my own thing. But the more like I'm starting to make money, I'm realizing 95% of the game is networking.
Leveraging, yeah.
So I'm just creating relationships with these mega influencers, keeping in contact with them, just talking to them, and then occasionally I'll elevate or pitch them an idea. And I actually did have someone reach out to me with a partnership recently, and that was because I started making YouTube videos. I started commenting on their videos. I started posting on, basically I started engaging them. I just started putting myself out there more. I started talking, was asking them questions, and that just goes to show that networking works. And I'm an introvert, so I do have to get outside my comfort zone and like, oh man, do I really need to do this? But I do try to focus on the enjoyable parts of it. So I like to talk about things I'm passionate about, what I enjoy. So it kind of like makes it a lot easier and more fun.
I totally agree. Believe it or not, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm very introverted. I guess I'm not as much anymore, but the first 27 years of my life, I was a complete introvert. So if he can do it, so can you. For all of you out there, you just gotta, put your fears and anxieties aside and just start talking to people. And it's actually not bad. It's actually pretty pleasant to talk to people and feel good afterwards.
Very nicely said. I got to write that down and hang it on my wall. It's a really good quote.
Yeah, sure.
So here are 5 ways to make money on Twitter. So number 1, be an affiliate. That's the easiest way. Just someone starting out, they don't have any content, just be an affiliate. Help someone else sell their book or product. And I'm going to go into ways on how to do that. Essentially, just create very beautiful samples and then ask them to share that. I'm going to talk more about this soon. So number 1, be an affiliate. Number 2, a little bit more time intensive, create a really good high quality product in the subject that you're an expert in. And people that are not experts, become an expert. Take out a couple months out of your life, read the top 10 books, go out in the field, get some results, and then become an expert, and then create the product. Because people can tell when someone's talking from experience or someone's just rehashing other people's content.